Hello, listeners. This is Kat. Welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfic. This will be the continuation of Reformation. This will be Part 30, Chapter 36. It's official, Himiko cheered, running into the 1A common room, Nato in tow. I am now Himiko-kan. Izuku smiled up at her as she skirted around the couch he was sitting on. That's amazing. Congratulations. Squealing, she dropped to sit by him, hugging him tightly. I'm so excited, and I finally came up with my hero name. Want to hear it? I helped, Nato said proudly, sitting beside Shoto and Hitoshi. Hitoshi laughed. All right then, let's hear it. Princess Plasma. Princess because that's what Dad calls me, and Plasma because I drink blood. Aw, you're calling him Dad. That's so sweet, Izuku jokingly crooned. Himiko pinched him in retaliation. I also have news, Shoto said, catching everyone's attention. Endeavor's assault charge is moving forward, and the child abuse charges look like they're going to stick. He'll be going to court soon. Natsuo said that my testimony to the police should be enough, and that I shouldn't have to go to court, but Natsuo is going to have to go since he's the victim of the assault. The court awarded custody to Natsuo, so we don't have to worry about Mom or Fuyumi petitioning for custody of me anymore. Look at that, Nato said, clapping Shoto on the shoulder. Everything's coming together. All that's left is for Izuku to be adopted. How's that going, by the way? Izuku shrugged. It's been a little tricky. First, they're still trying to bring me back from the dead, legally speaking. And then there's my mom's will. That states I'm to go with the Bakugous, should she die. So the Bakugous are having to get that straightened out so that Aizawa and Mike can actually adopt me. And then the court apparently has some reservations about them adopting both me and Eri at the same time, so they've had to get a lawyer to help fight for them. With Eri, it's a bit easier, since we can't find her family. The court is just waiting to see the outcome of all my legal stuff to make their decision. Once it's been deemed that I am alive, not a risk, and eligible for adoption, she and I can both be adopted. Are you and Eri planning to take their last names? Hitoshi asked. Eri wants to. She's been debating different ways to combine their names. So far she likes Yamazawa best, but I think Mike and Aizawa are going to convince her to do a hyphenated name. As for me, I don't know. I don't really want to lose the connection to my mom, even if Midoriya was actually my dad's last name. It was the name my mom used. You could do a triple hyphenated name, Himiko suggested. You could be Izuku Midoriya Yamada Aizawa. That's a mouthful. Then let's mash it up. How about Mito Mazawa? Hitoshi snorted. Sounds like you're choking on something. Then you can come up with a better one. Fine. The way I see it, no matter what name you have, Izuku, you still have your mother in your heart. You loved her, and she loved you. So if you want to have one or both of Aizawa and Mike's last names, then do it. She wouldn't mind. She'd just want you to be safe and happy. If you don't want to take their last names, that's fine too. They won't mind. They like you for you, and your name isn't going to make a difference. So just do what you want. No one's going to be hurt or upset by what you choose. Izuku nodded, looking down at his lap. It would be nice to feel like a part of a family. Before any of them could say any more, Aizawa and Mike came into the common room, and Izuku perched on Aizawa's shoulder. Hey, little listeners. Sorry to bug you, but the detective working on Endeavor's case needs to talk to Todoroki. He also wants to talk to Izuku since UA is pressing charges against Endeavor for trespassing and assault against a minor. What? Izuku asked, blinking up at Mike in confusion. You're pressing charges against him for burning me? Of course, Nezu said proudly. As principal of UA, I take the safety of my students very seriously. Now come along, please. We mustn't keep the detective waiting. Aizawa let his eyes roam over the children. Could the rest of you watch Eri? The big three are out on their work studies, and most of the teachers are busy. Sure, Himiko said excitedly, bouncing out of her seat. I need to tell her about my hero name. Maybe she has some ideas for my costume. Nato, Hitoshi, let's go. I'd rather not, Nato said, looking slightly panicked. I'm not great with kids. I think I'll head back to the dorm and do some homework. You and Hitoshi can hang out with Eri. Himiko pouted, but didn't argue. Hitoshi, on the other hand, swatted the back of Nato's head. Loser, Hitoshi said good-naturedly before standing, Shoto doing the same. Hitoshi planted a quick kiss on Shoto's cheek, giving him a gentle smile. You'll be okay. Izuku will be there if you need someone. Shoto nodded, pulling away and keeping his face completely neutral. Mike reached out and set a gentle hand on Shoto's shoulder to help guide him out of the common room, getting little to no reaction from the boy. Once outside, Shoto pulled away from Mike and drifted to Izuku's side. Without saying a word, he tangled his fingers with Izuku's, clutching at his hand as if it were his last lifeline. I'm going to have to tell them everything again, Shoto whispered, his voice hoarse. I already did it once. Why do I have to do it again? Izuku gave Shoto's hand a squeeze. trying to ignore the fluttering in his stomach. Endeavor has probably been twisting the truth and trying to make you out to be the bad guy. They need to get your side to prove that he's full of shit. That or Endeavor is trying to make claims about Natsuo. They need to get your side to confirm you're safe. It's not fair. No, it's not. And I'm sorry. I'll be by your side through all of it, if you want me there. Of course I want you there, Shoto said, his grip tightening. I always want you by my side. Izuku's mouth went dry, not knowing how to respond or how to react to the way his stomach flipped at Shoto's words. Before he could think of something to say, Nezu opened the door to his office, revealing Detective Tsukuuchi. Hello, boys, he said with a soft smile. Sorry to have to bother you, but I need to talk to you both about Endeavor. I'm hoping it won't take too long. Can you braid my hair? Eri asked from where she was curled up in Himiko's lap. Hitoshi smiled as Himiko gave Eri a little tickle while nodding. Of course. Here, sit on the floor in front of me and I'll do a French braid. Do you have a hair tie or anything? I'll grab one, Eri said, scrambling up and running to her room. You and Izuku spoil her, Hitoshi laughed. Hush, Himiko said. She deserves some fun in her life. Doing a quick braid isn't a big deal. I still think you spoil her. Whatever. Now that we have a second alone, when the hell are you and Shoto going to confess to Izuku? It's getting ridiculous. Shoto and I are hoping to do it soon, maybe next weekend. We are trying to figure out the best way to do it. I am trying to get things ready for if he says no, since Shoto is going to be heartbroken. Himiko rolled her eyes. First, Izuku won't say no. Second, would Shoto be the only heartbroken one? No, obviously I would be upset too, but Shoto is a little sensitive to rejection right now because of his parents and sister. Like, the other day All Might told Shoto to try a different move than the one he was doing, and that night, Shoto broke down thinking that All Might thought he wasn't cut out to be a hero. Like, he won't show it the moment something happens. He'll just wait until he and I are alone, and then he'll break down. So if Izuku does say he isn't interested in dating us, I need to be ready to comfort Shoto. So, I've been stockpiling sweets, blankets, and stuffed animals so that I can smother Shoto in affection if anything happens. Himiko cooed. That's so sweet of you. Unnecessary, since Izuku will say yes, but sweet. Eri came scampering back, a large pink scrunchie in her hand. Can we use this one? She asked. Sure, Himiko said, smiling as she took the scrunchie. Come on, sit here in front of me. Just as Himiko started to run her fingers through the little girl's hair, detangling it, a heavy knock sounded from the door. Hitoshi and Himiko looked up at the door, the pair wearing matching frowns. Eri cocked her head curiously. Who's that? She asked. I don't know, Hitoshi said, setting his phone on the coffee table and standing from the couch before carefully walking to the door. Maybe a student looking for Aizawa. He cracked the door open and peered out, slowly, his head craned backward to look up at the tall, thin man that towered over him. You are Shinso, correct? Sir Night-Eye asked, looking over the rims of his glasses. Yes. Are you looking for Aizawa? No, I was sent to collect you, Eri, and Toga. Eraserhead and Present Mike sent me. Himiko had come to join Hitoshi at the door, eyes narrowed to glare at Night-Eye. Why did they send you? I happened to be in the office when Midoriya fell ill. Eraserhead and Present Mike are taking him, along with Todoroki, to a nearby hospital. We have concerns that the League had tried to poison him. Eraserhead thought that you three would want to be with him. I was the only one in the office that had a car here at the school, so I was sent to collect you. Is Izu okay? Eri shouted, her red eyes going wide and watery. Can I help make him better? Perhaps. We need to hurry, though. Come quickly. Eri made to run out the door, only to be grabbed by Himiko. Why should we trust you? Last time we did, Izuku almost got hurt. With a huff, Night-Eye pulled a scrap of handkerchief from his pocket. Spots of dried blood splattered across its white surface. Midoriya began coughing up blood. I gave him this to help. After he sufficiently sullied it, he moved on to tissues and handed this back to me. You are familiar with Midoriya's blood, correct? Is this his blood? Himiko reached out, snatching the cloth away. She sniffed at the blood for a second, and then ran her tongue across it briefly. Her eyes went wide in shock. That's Izuku's blood, she whispered. And it's not healthy blood. Shit, Hitoshi hissed. Immediately, he bent down and scooped Eri up, letting her cling tightly to him. Let's go. The group hurried from the building, pausing only long enough to grab their shoes. Hitoshi continued to carry Eri since her legs would be too small to keep up with their fast pace. She was sniffling quietly, pressing her face into Hitoshi's shoulder. Night-Eye led them through campus, taking odd pathways around the backs of buildings. The front gate is that way, Himiko spoke up, pointing to their left. I'm aware. I parked by a side entrance today, not realizing I was going to have to be a taxi service to ungrateful children. Himiko frowned, pressing in closer to Hitoshi's side. I'm not trying to be ungrateful. Then be quiet and walk faster. Who knows how long Midoriya has? Night-Eye led them to a side entrance. The gate cracked open instead of latched. He ushered them through and to the car, where he insisted on all three of them sitting in the back seat. Once they were all buckled, he peeled away from the curb at breakneck speeds. Isn't the hospital the other way? Hitoshi asked, looking at the window with furrowed brows. Quiet. I'm just asking. The slight hiss of pressurized gas being released cut him off, making him freeze. In the front seat, Night-Eye was using one hand to strap on a small mask, a filtration system clearly built in. Out of the car, Hitoshi snarled, yanking the door handles. Get out of the car! Hurry! Himiko heard the hiss as well, and was lunging at the other door trying to get it open. That won't work, children, Night-Eye said, his voice coming out slightly garbled through the mask. I turned on the child safety locks. Same with the electric windows. You won't be able to open them. Without hesitation, Himiko was beating on the window, trying to break it. Beside him, Eri had started to sob. Himiko tried to climb into the front seat, making to attack Night-Eye. With a quick flick of his wrist, he jabbed her with a compact taser, making her gasp in pain and collapse back into the back seat, convulsing from the electricity. Eri, who was hyperventilating, slowly started to sag in her seat, her sobs quieting as she inhaled more and more of the gas. Finally, she passed out, slumping into Himiko. Himiko had passed out from a combination of the electric shock and the gas, her head lolling and bouncing off of the tinted window. After one last strike against the window, Hitoshi collapsed, groaning as his head swam as he finally succumbed to the gas. Once he was sure all three children were unconscious, Night-Eye rolled down his window, venting the knockout gas from the car. He then removed the mask he wore and picked up his phone. Tapping a few times, he called one of the few saved numbers in the phone. I got the girl, he said. Along with 2 other kids. I wasn't able to get Deku, but I got Toga. The sample of Deku's blood from before he got to UA worked. She was easily fooled. I think you will be interested in the last kid's quirk. I think it could be useful. As they walked back to the dorms, Shoto clutched tightly to Izuku's hand. The taller boy had his head bowed, shielding his face from the prying eyes of his teachers. Izuku gave his hand a squeeze. You did really well in there, Izuku whispered. With everything you told them, there's no way Endeavor will get custody of you again. But will it help with the case against him? The commission is on his side. All they have to do is say it was training that went too far and that the attack on Natsuo was self-defense, and then he's back to patrolling the streets as a hero. Well, if these charges don't stick, then I'll help you with getting different ones to stick. I'll even call in some favors with villains if you want. We can dig up some dirt on him. I did not just hear you say you would contact villains. Aizawa growled, narrowing his eyes at Izuku. Izuku shot him a toothy smile. I would never say that, but if I were to, say, reach out to some low-level villains to get Endeavor's hero license stripped, how much trouble would I be in? Mike shrugged. Depends. If you take me or Sho or Hawks with you to meet them, then none. If you go alone, I'll ground you. Hizashi. No. If he calls villains at all, he's grounded. Why? You talk to villains sometimes to get information. I'm an underground hero. I have to. Izuku's training to be an underground hero. He is a child. Yeah, that's why he has to bring an adult. Duh. Shoto snorted, a tiny smile gracing his lips. I wish my family was more like yours, Izuku, he whispered. What? Dead? No, I mean your new family. Oh, right. You have your brother, though, and as you get to know him better, I'm sure you guys will be like this. And you have your friends, too. Friends are like family. Yeah? Who is who in our friend group? Well, Hitoshi is the mom, obviously. He makes sure we eat and stuff. You're the dad because you're dating Hitoshi, and because you're both protective and clueless at the same time. Himiko is the daughter that we all fuss over. I'm the crazy uncle with a taste for explosives, and Nato is the guard dog. Shoto made an odd face. If you are the uncle, then that means you are either my or Hitoshi's brother. What? You don't want to be my brother? I think it would make things awkward. Izuku frowned, not fully understanding what Shoto meant, but he quickly brushed it off. Well, then I'm the crazy uncle that no one knows where I came from. I just showed up one day. Hawks would be the other crazy uncle then, correct? Eri would be sort of like our little cousin. How did you come up with Hawks as the crazy uncle? Well, he's sort of like your older brother, right? Mike made a wheezing noise behind them as he tried not to laugh. I don't remember adopting a Birdman, Aizawa said dryly. But you helped him to get away from the commission, and helped to keep him safe, just like you keep Eri and Izuku safe. And you let Hawks show up at your place all the time to eat your food, and you don't yell at him when he drinks all the coffee, and you bought him that ugly cat sweater, and... Enough. Mike was fully laughing. I can't believe it, he howled. We basically adopted the number 3 hero. How did we not realize? Because we haven't. And he laughed at that sweater, so he probably doesn't like it. Really? Then why did I hear him saying how much he loved it? And how he thought that you were joking, but he wears it all the time anyway. I've seen him wear it no less than 3 times while doing interviews. He gets cold easy. He and I aren't close. Then why did you text him the other day to scold him for not coming to family dinner? He said he was going to come to dinner with Eri and Izuku last week, but overscheduled himself again. He's still learning how to have a work-life balance, and you're a worrywart. Izuku ran ahead of the adults, dragging Shoto with him just as they got to the dorms. Laughing, he shoved the door open to the apartment. Himiko! Hitoshi, guess what? Hawks is basically my... Wait, where are they? Shoto frowned at the empty living room, the TV still on and a pink scrunchie lying on the floor. They don't seem to be here. Yeah, but where did they go? They were supposed to stay here. That's when Izuku spotted it. There, on the coffee table, was Hitoshi's phone. Izuku felt his stomach flip, his heart dropping in his chest. Something's happened, he said, hard conviction in his voice. Just then, Mike and Aizawa came in the door behind them. Hey, Mike said, furrowing his brows. Where is everyone? Something bad happened, Izuku repeated, grabbing up Hitoshi's phone and immediately typing in the password, which he had memorized months ago. Swiping through the recent messages and calls, he didn't see anything suspicious. We need to check the security cameras. Now. I'm on it, Aizawa said, already walking out the door. Shoto was staring at Hitoshi's phone, a grief-ridden expression on his face. Toshi doesn't go anywhere without his phone. He only forgets it if there's an emergency. Mike switched into hero mode instantly. Boys, I need you to be 100% honest with me. Has Hitoshi or Himiko been talking about doing anything they shouldn't? Are either of them in any trouble that they didn't want the teachers to know about? Both Shoto and Izuku shook their heads. They would have told us, Izuku said as he handed Hitoshi's phone to Mike to look through. Okay. Izuku, I want you to run over to One Piece dorms and get Monoma. I want the 2 of you and Vlad King to go through Himiko's room and look for any clues. Shoto, I want you to go find a friend, maybe Ida or Uraka, and ask them to help you through Hitoshi's room. I'll be searching Ares. Stay with a friend whenever you can and report back as soon as you finish or when you find something. Izuku, bring Monoma and Vlad to the 1A dorms when you finish. Have I made myself clear? The boys nodded and jumped into action. Glancing down at the phone in his hand, Mike frowned. He had a very, very bad feeling about all of this. Hawks was soaring over the city, enjoying the feeling of the wind through his hair and streamlining over his wings. He was just starting to consider swinging by his favorite chicken place when he felt his phone vibrate in his pocket. Landing on a nearby roof, he fished his phone out and took a quick look at the screen. A cocky, almost excited smile creeped on his face as he answered. Eraserhead! Hey, look! I know I missed dinner with the kids, but I swear I'll make it up to you, I promise. I'm eating plenty, so you don't have to mother hen me. Now, how about... He trailed off as Aizawa started to speak. As the seconds ticked on, Aizawa's panicked voice spilling from the phone speaker, Hawks' smile slid off his face. Before Aizawa even finished speaking, Hawks was back in the air and flying toward UA. I'm on my way. I'll see you soon. Once he hung up, Hawks beat his wings even harder, quickly reaching his top speeds. Someone was messing with the people he cared about, and he wasn't going to let that stand. All of the intercom speakers around UA campus crackled to life, catching everyone's attention. Code Black! Nezu's voice called out, his voice uncharacteristically stern instead of whimsical. All students, return to your dorms immediately and initiate lockdown procedures. Homeroom teachers, return to your classes' dorm and protect them at all costs. Any teacher without a homeroom class, report to the 1A dorm. I repeat, UA is in Code Black. Kirishima and Kaminari looked up from where they sat in the grass, Sero hanging above them in the tree with Mina, while Bakugou sat on a nearby bench. What's a Code Black? Kaminari asked, already climbing to his feet. Bakugou's face had gone pale, his red eyes wide and panicked. Kidnapping, he said, in a voice barely above a whisper. Code Black is for when a student has been kidnapped. Without another word, he took off at a dead run across campus, beelining for 1A's dorm. Kirishima was hot on his trail, knowing exactly why Bakugou was freaking out so badly. Under his breath, Bakugou kept repeating the same sentence over and over again. Not Deku, not Deku, not Deku. Please, please not Deku. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 36 of Reformation. Chapter 37 will be next. I hope you all are still enjoying it. As always, thank you so much for listening.